Hello all, welcome back to PowerShell Titans. Today let's see about PowerShell remoting. So we will be seeing how to remote into the other machines. Let's say when I say other machines, it can be a server, Exchange server, AWS cloud computing, or Azure, or it can be Office 365 or anything. So how we are going to connect from one machine to multiple machines, or one machine to another machine remotely, and then going to execute commands from one place to another place. So there are a couple of techniques we can use and to do all these administration in the remote computers, and we are using currently to administrate Azure and AWS, Office 365, everything using this PS remoting session. So we'll be go ahead and see the following things. So first thing is we will be seeing what are all the basics of the Windows PowerShell remoting. What is the difference between remoting and then taking remote control of another machine, and then some advanced Windows PowerShell remoting techniques, and we will be seeing particularly about something called PS sessions, which stands for PowerShell sessions. So since this module is related to multiple computers, and we don't have I mean, as of now, we don't I don't have any particular remote computers to test it. uh, we are not going to do much of the demonstration, but we will be going through the concepts, and I'll make sure you understand exactly what exactly will be happening, and you should able to go ahead and try it. Especially in this one, make sure you try it in your either in your local machine lab, if you have a lab, and Hyper-V or VMware multiple machines, try that, or in your test bed of your company. Let's say it can be a testing environment, or you can also do the same thing in the production, but make sure you are actually very confident and know what exactly doing, and start with the read operations, and then go with update and then delete other operations. So that's the thing. And being said that, again, we are going to see about remoting. There will be not not much of execution, and then we will not be seeing the examples, and I request you to go ahead and do it in your lab machines, and then come back with the questions where you are exactly getting stuck. This is how I usually this module will be. This is the only module we will be handling in this way. So I'll be explaining, and then I'll be showing things, and then I'll be also showing the examples. It will not execute in my computer. I want you to go ahead and try it in your machines or wherever it is possible, and not, if at all not now, in future, if you are trying that, you will, if at all you have any questions, come back, and then I'll be able to assist you to wherever you are stuck. I'll be able to unstuck you and then help you on that. So this particular module will work in that way. So hope that will be helpful, and let's start with the first thing. So what is the difference between the word remoting and remote connectivity? Okay, so let's say remote connectivity, let's say we say we type start, run, and mstse, and we are seeing remote desktop connections, right? So this is something like we are connecting to another machine directly. Means we will be able to there is basically we are just connecting from this machine to another machine, and then we are logging in there with a different user or the same user with a credential, and we are doing everything in the remote machine. In remote machine, in terms of I am in this laptop, I'm connecting to, let's say this laptop is, let's let's open a notepad, and let's say this server is A, and then I'm not remoting, I'm actually remote connecting. Okay, let's take this. This is the first one, remote connectivity. Okay. So what is remote connectivity is, we are in a server A, let's say it can be a local in another, okay, and we are connecting to server B, and it can be using remote connectivity, and then MSTSC, and let's say remote registry, and a few other things. Okay, a few other services will be used, and what we will be doing is, we will be connecting to this remote machine, okay, and executing things, and whatever we are executing, this local machine has nothing to do with that. Okay, we are just using this as a hop or a gateway to connect the server B. Okay, that is the first case. Okay, and all the commands or all the executions will be happening in the remote server or server B, okay, which is the remote server. So this is the usual MSTAC, and then this is what we will be doing in the remote desktop connection, right? Let's say I'm typing IT Big Bang, it will be trying to connect, and then if it is not there, it will be, all these procedures. We know pretty good about all these things. So that is the remote connectivity, and MSTAC is not exactly, I mean, that is not the only thing about remote connectivity. We have other things as well. So what is again, so versus remoting? What is remoting? It's almost the same thing, except just one important thing. We are in server A local, and then we are going to connect to the server. Let's say here we say remoting to server B. Okay, and this remoting will be actually whatever this commands, right? It can, let's say here it's say ps session is also is one of the session which will be remoting. Session stands for PowerShell session, that will be established and connecting to the server B. Means there are few commandlets. Okay, so few commandlets or other resources can be executed directly from server A instead of doing everything in server B. Means, let's say in this example, all the CPU utilization, everything will be only handled by server B. All the data will be there in server B. Everything will be done in server B. Either it can be, there are just two things, right, in any object. One is the property, and another one is the method. So both of the things, okay, both the result, if we are handling property, it will be, the property will be displayed there only, we will be storing it in the remote machine only. And if you are executing some method, this output will be actually in the server B. So everything will be there, but in this case it will be everything in remote machine, let's say server B. Okay, and in this scenario, all these things will be available, will be done, all these property and methods will be done from server A as well. Okay, when I say A as well, means not all the things are okay, everything will be done from server A. Few things can be done in server B, okay, and then few things will be, we can, for an example, we are getting a service or we are doing a calculation of CPU utilization or anything, we can initiate a command from here, okay, and then we can connect here, and then we can calculate everything there using some kind of method. Finally, the output can be stored in this machine using a file or a variable or anything. So in remote connectivity, it is entirely will be in the server B, all the responsibility, everything, and here it will be shared. Either it will be completely, taken by server B, server A. Server A will be doing everything, calculations and everything. There will be only a few details will be fetched from server B, and in some cases it will be based on what we are doing. It will be um, few things will be done by server A and few things will be done by B. So that is what remoting. And I said as well, right, means B also will contribute. Okay, so here it is gateway to connect server B, and also few commandlets, and execution will be happening in both the servers. Okay, server A and server B. So that is called remoting. So that's a difference between remoting and particularly, I mean, they almost in English, they both are same, right? Remote connectivity or remoting. Here, take this literally as a technical word. How we say commandlet is actually for commands, right? Similarly, remoting, whenever we are saying remoting, think of it's kind of a PowerShell session, and we are executing something in the remote server, and either we get the result and then display in the server A or in the server B or in both. So this is what you will be doing. That is the whole point of remoting. Now, this is generally everywhere. Okay. So when I say everywhere, let's say whenever we are saying remoting, this is the one, and this is how it will be anywhere. It can be this server B can be on-premise server, like let's say Exchange, Active Directory, or Skype for Business, or anything else, let's say SCCM, SCOM, all those things. Okay, and it can also be cloud computing. Cloud computing, Office 365, and even though this Office 365, I'll complete this list: Office 365, and then Azure, and then AWS, and in some cases, it'll be also mm, okay, VMware as well. Okay, so these are all the both, it will work in both the things, and the underlying concept is remoting, and then okay, underlying concept is remoting, and the way we are connecting, okay, sometimes in Office 365 it will be a different command to connect. For an example, it may be connect hyphen Office 365, it can be connect hyphen Azure, it can be different commandlets, but whatever the underlying things happening will be exactly the same thing. Okay, so commandlets may be changing, but the concept, whichever underlying, will be the exactly the same thing. Okay, so if you understand this, you will be able to work on all these things. So you will be able to remote on all these machines, and you will be able to do that. Reason is, you know what can be done, what cannot be done, what is the best way to do that. All those things we are going to do it. So let's quickly, so remoting is the name of specific feature that utilize specific service and protocol. So what is specific service? Let's say an Exchange server we are connecting. When we are remoting to a machine, okay, it means I, even though I connect to an Exchange server, I can go to services, and I can go to anywhere and do anything, right? But when I'm connecting using PowerShell session and then connecting to a particular Exchange PS session, okay, only those particular exchange related services will be commandlets will be available. Only AD related commands will be available. Only Skype related commands will be available. That is what they say. Specific service and protocols will be available when we are doing the remoting, meaning not everything will be available. Whatever is required to do some specific service, that will be the only thing available. And uh, remoting, the actual how we say commandlet as a command line, so commands. So similarly, remoting is actually Windows PowerShell remoting. And let us, okay, now we know, let's open PowerShell. Okay, and let me start the transcript. Okay, it looks a little bit small for me. Okay, let me make it a little, okay. Okay, I think it's visible now. So here, hyphen computer name. Let's say get hyphen service, right? And if we type computer name, it will have a computer name and we can connect to the remote machines. And let's say get hyphen process. Okay, let's say whether it has a computer name, that is also has it. Get hyphen WMI object hyphen computer name. This also has the thing. So the point is, if a if a particular command has hyphen computer name, it's not necessary that it is using the PowerShell remoting technology. That is the important thing. Okay. For an example, if you remember in the WMI, we were seeing about WMI, and then when we are seeing about WMI, we say there is something called services. In the services, we'll be having WinRM, Windows management WMI. This is the service will be taking care of it. And also WinRM is so this is the WinRM, and these are all the things will take care of WMI, CIM, everything, right? So this we have already covered. So meaning when few WMI commands will be using those kind of services, and it will be retrieving using different protocols and different ports, and then uh, get hyphen process, right? In that command, actually there is let's say go to here, get hyphen services, and let's get remote. You see, we have something called remote registry, right? This is the command will be serving what whenever we run get hyphen process, let's say get hyphen process and then computer name, whatever the remote computer, let's say this is the remote computer. If I do this, it has nothing to do with the remoting whatever the one we are talking about. It is actually using a command which the service which is called remote registry service. Similarly, when we are using WMI, it will be using either, it depends on what command you are using and what version you are using. um, so it will be Windows management instrumentation, that is the service we'll be using. So these, that is the first thing. So whenever we are using hypercomputer name, that doesn't mean we are using remoting, and few other things are there and they will be using. These are all just two examples. Other than that, there are a lot of other own protocols. Okay. Now, remoting, how the remoting will be happening, and we are going to first thing is this. is implemented by WinRM service. Okay, and this started in 2012 itself. Okay, server 2012, right? At that time, that is when it started WinRM service. Means all the remoting. Okay, let's say it can be AD server or Exchange server or anything. Okay, whether we use PowerShell or not. Okay, uh, this WinRM service is not not only to support PowerShell. Okay, it is a common service to do any remoting. Okay, what I mean by that, let us say you are opening the ECP or Exchange control panel for Exchange 2016 or any version. Okay, now let's say you are opening ECP is Exchange control panel is very similar to Active Directory users and computers. It is a tool to see your Exchange servers and to administrate your mailboxes and everything. This initially it was using the MMC, like MMC, right? Here Microsoft Management Console and how we use. Just showing an example. Okay, very similar to this MMC, everything will be here and everything will be connected. Let's say if I open the Exchange administration console, okay, admin console, it will be very similar to the MMC, and then you will be doing everything. But after 2012, or I mean, after WinRM is introduced, instead of MMC, they moved to HTTPS based. Means you will be opening even I mean even the, let's say, I'll come to the other things later. Let's complete this Exchange server. So what we will be doing is we will be opening an browser, okay, internet browser, and then from there we will be typing HTTPS, whatever ECP is Exchange Control Panel, whatever the name Exchange server one dot domain.com, anything. Okay, and this will go ahead and prompt you for the username and password, right? Let's say I'll quickly show it. ECP prompt password. Here. So similar to this, it will be opening, and then here it will be asking you to type the username and the password. So now you see the change, right? In spite of we are connecting to MMC, basically initially before we do this, what we will be doing, we will be remoting to the machine. Remoting, let's not use that. Let's use MSDSC or yeah. This is how we will be connecting to another machine, remote desktop connection, and or we will be using the MMC, right? So let's say this is the remote desktop connection. Okay, and then we will be opening the MMC, or in other words, Exchange control panel. Okay, and then we will be doing everything. But here we are not doing anything. You can be in any machine. Okay, and all you need is WinRM service should be running in both this computer, wherever you are actually starting and then wherever the destination. In both server, the WinRM should be running, and then HTTPS, just you are opening the browser as if you are browsing any domain name, I mean any website, and then it's asking for the username and password. Based on your username and password, you will be seeing all the options available for your admin credentials, right? It means, let's say you are L4 engineer or you are the architect. Okay, you will be having access to everything, global level access. Let's say you are L3 and then you are a senior engineer. you will be having almost the same, maybe one or two few things will be missing. So L2, L1, similarly, the L1 will be having only access to mailboxes, that to some limited things, right? This is again, if you don't know what is exchange server, don't worry about it. Just imagine anything, any technology you are, this will be almost the same case, right? So don't get stuck with the exchange server. I don't know exchange server, I'm not able to understand it. If I just change this exchange control panel with AWS, or let's say AWS, or it can be Office 365 or anything, this is the exact same thing will be happening. Okay, so wherever we are using WinRM, there will be HTTPS browser, and we open it, and then we will be connecting, and then we will be doing all the administrations. So that is what PS remoting, and that is where the WinRM service is coming. So from Windows 2016, it made as default, and then WinRM service will be by default available, and then it will be by default enabled. And it will be enabled only in the server. It will not be enabled in any of the client operating system, let's say Windows 10 or Windows 8 or anything. By default, WinRM service will be there but will not be enabled. So we need to enable it either using some kind of bulk operation, or usually it will be done using group policy, active directory group policy. And must be enabled in any computer, either server, I mean source or destination, or both the computers should be having WinRM service to use this WS man protocol. Okay, that is the protocol will be using WinRM. Don't worry about, I mean, you don't have to remember this. This is actually just the HTTP or HTTPS, as I just shown you here, right? This is what it is actually happening. Okay, and if we get into this, it is just very similar to this. Okay, imagine there is a tunnel, okay, between server A and server B. Okay, this tunnel is actually HTTP or HTTPS. Okay, and within this HTTPS there is another connection. Okay, let's say underlying, there will be a protocol, okay, that is covered by HTTPS. At the at the external level, you'll be seeing HTTP and HTTPS, but internally there is a WinRM service, which is WS man protocol. Okay, so this is how they both will be communicating. Again, this is just to give you an idea. Okay, you don't have to know how it is, all those things. Just understand this is all will be taken care by WinRM service, and that is all we require. Okay, and okay, and what else that we have seen? Okay, here we go. So how the architecture works is pretty straightforward. We have already seen the same similar thing in the when we were discussing about the Windows Management Instrumentation, right? WMI, the similar concept. Okay, but here Windows PowerShell, it is through the HTTP, which is the WS-MAN traffic. Through the HTTP, it is connected to the remote machines WinRM. Endpoint is nothing but an endpoint is can be an Exchange server or a AD or anything. Okay, anything which can provide service, right? Let's say service in the sense it can be an Exchange service, or it can be AD service, or anything. So endpoint is something which will be giving result. Okay, in one computer it might have an AD, it can be having an DNS, it can have certificates, it also can have multiple roles, right? So each of them will be an endpoint. So that is what endpoint is, and everything will be giving I mean, don't worry about this host, all those things. So this is what all we required. Okay, So PowerShell remoting through HTTP inside there is WSMan WinRM service endpoint can be anything. Okay. Okay. Now, how do we enable the remoting? Okay. Let's say this is first we'll go to this get hyphen help enable hyphen ps remoting and example. If you see, it's just two, one or two examples actually. I mean, basically, it's just a PS enable PS remoting. What this will do, it will just enable wherever you are running this command in that particular machine, not on the remote machine. Okay, wherever you are running. In that particular machine, it will be enabling the remote machine. I mean, let's say in this example, okay, you want to enable server B to give the data, you need to run this command from here. Okay, enable PS remoting means this will be enabled here. Okay, and as I say, if we need to connect from another machine, basically wherever you wanted to be connecting, okay, wherever you wanted to connect, either it can be here or here. Okay, wherever we need WinRM service, we want to use a PS remoting, then we can enable the PS remoting. So let's try this. I'm gonna first enable PS remoting. Last in previous session we seen about verbose, right? Let's see that. And enable PS remoting. You see the verbose, when we put it will be actually checking, will also be giving more details, but this is how it will be. So WinRM has been updated and then changed the type, means basically it is preparing the WinRM, okay, the service, and then it is also updating the firewall and the configuration, all those things whatever required for you to connect through to this particular machine using a PS remoting session. Okay, and this again, as I said, using GPO's group policy, and we will be able to enable it sent from AD centrally and configure a GPO, and then we can enable PS remoting in all the servers or wherever we want. Okay, and as I said, in Windows 2012 and later, it is all by default. You don't have to do it those things now. But this is again in some companies it will be disabled. So GPO is the answer, and this is the command to enable it. It has nothing to connect. It is just to prepare it. Okay, enable will not enable. I mean, just enabling, just like how we start the WinRM service. Almost it does the exact thing, but by using a command. Okay, if you see the command, it will be actually starting the command, updating the command, all those things, right? So that is what exactly doing. Now there are two kind of remoting. One is one to one, one to many. Okay, so how do we do one to one? It's very similar to SSH. If you don't know SSH, don't worry about it. uh, it's very similar to enter PS session. First, what we did, we enable PS remoting, let's say in this machine, and then we are gonna enter PS remoting, PS session. Okay, and the computer name, whatever the computer name, let's say verbose. I'm using verbose so that we can see more details. Okay, so access is denied, means I'm not actually connecting with the right credential, means there should be credential as well. As I said, yes, credential will be also there. We can give the right credential. Using that, I'll be able to connect. Let's say cred is equal to get hyphen credential, and and credential is cred. Hopefully it will be connecting. Okay, now I'm connecting to my local machine. Okay, to just to demonstrate. Okay, but you will be actually connecting to your remote machine. Okay, now since I already enabled this PS remoting, okay, I'm able to connect. If it is not enabled, it will be actually saying it is disabled and you will not be able to connect. Okay. So first it should be enabled. Second, it should be, we'll be taking a note of it. First, enable hyphen remoting, and second, enter hyphen PS session, and using the computer name and credential if required. Now, if you see now PowerShell is changed to the remote machines PowerShell. Okay, and again, even I was in D drive, it went to the default drive, right? Now, whatever the command available, this is very important. Now, it doesn't mean I have the entire access to that machine. Okay, what access I have is based on my credential and based on the endpoint. What is endpoint? As I said, what service is running there, right? So based on that, only whatever the commandlets are available will be here. Let's say I'm connecting to a server which has let's say I'm a L1 engineer, okay, and I'm connecting to the same machine with the same command with my credential. I'll be having, let's say, 100 anything related to mailboxes or recipient. I'll be having 100 commandlets available for me, because that is all required to administrate the recipients, mailboxes, everything. But if I connect it with I am the global administrator or any kind of L4 or L3 engineer, in that case, instead of 100 whatever 100 commands for L1, now I'll be having 1,000 commands, because I have different access. And even though it is the same endpoint, even though it is the same computer, based on my credential, based on that, this available commandlets will be changing. Okay, so sometimes you'll be connecting, I mean, even though you are okay, this will happen very often in a real time. You will be you will be having the topmost access. You will be, let's say, enterprise administrator or anything like that, global administrator, enterprise administrator, anything. Okay, and you will be logging with that particular one. Still you will not be able to run few commands. It will say that particular command you don't have access, or it is not available. It doesn't mean you don't have access. There is an option, I mean, there will be a possibility that particular command is not enabled in the endpoint. Let's say you wanted to enable some kind of let's say Skype for business, okay, or if it is multiple technologies, if it is getting confused, let's keep it simple. Let's say it is a certificate, or let's say just it is very simple one. What can we say? Okay. Mm, okay, let us say you have a server called certificate. Okay, certificate this is the server, and then even though you connect as enterprise admin, okay, you are not able to get something called let's say a command called get hyphen some kind of, let's say, list all certificates. Okay, let's say this is the command. Okay, this command is not available, but you are actually login with an enterprise admin using the enter ps session. So meaning this particular command is not enabled, okay, by default, not enabled by default in the server A's endpoint, by default, by design. And it has nothing to do with your administration, or nothing to do with the technology. There is a possibility this will also happen. So in that case, you will be actually going and then you will be actually enabling that particular whatever the service, let's say here it is this is the command, right? You will be enabling it. Okay, enable this particular service, then this particular command will be available when you are logging. Initially it will not be not available. Once it is there, it will be available. So basically you need to, so why I'm giving this very detailed, because this happens almost in 80% of the time, particularly when you are connecting to the server, because most of the important commands by default it will be disabled, even though you are logging in as an enterprise admin, and this will happen definitely. That's the reason we are covering that there is such a, you know, option. We have to go ahead and enable it, then only it will be available. Now the point is, based on what credential I'm connecting, that is the only commands available. Okay, let's say I'm connecting L1, I'll be having 100 commandlets, because I am L1 and these 100 commandlets are related to whatever the, let's say, mailboxes or related administration. Okay, and if I'm connecting to L3, it can be 1000 commandlets. Means I have mailbox, server, routing, anything. Okay, administration. I need to administrate all these things. That's the reason I have all these commandlets available. Okay, so that is how we'll be connecting, entering, and then this is what exactly will be happening, and we connected. And how do we exit? It's pretty simple. Okay, before we exit, we will be doing some commands. Okay, you if you remember, we were seeing when we were talking about the task scheduler, okay, and the remote, let's say, scheduled task and then background task. We were talking about invoke command, and I mentioned invoke command will be sending a particular command or a script to one computer to another computer. So invoke command is the magical command or important command to execute any command in the remote machine. Particularly, let's say you wanted to, let's say you want to execute or update the Windows, or Windows updates, or some kind of patching needs to be done, all those things, right? When you are automating, this command will be definitely there. Okay, so invoke command, let's say this is invoke hyphen command, and let us say here I don't have to mention the computer name because I'm already connected. Okay, invoke command hyphen, okay, script block and get hyphen service. Okay, now it is actually even though I'm not mentioning, okay, the hyphen computer name, okay, it is taking from the remote machine because we are already connected through the PS session. So that's the thing. And what they mean by throttling, I mean consideration while using this throttling, passing data to remote computers, all those things, that is all pretty straightforward. Let's say you are, let's say this is the scenario. Okay, you are in one computer and then you are gonna get it from some client A, and here we have almost 1000 computers, servers. Okay, and if you are doing event viewer or any command, okay, what will happen to the network, right? Whatever the network you are having, right, it will be almost like heavy, and then it will be there will be a lot of throttling, and there will be a delays and everything, right? How we will be keeping in mind when we are doing some bulk operation, or copying huge files to a multiple computers at the same time, right? What all the things we will be keeping in mind as an administrator? This is a huge file, it is going to take a long time, and it will be keep on copying. It means it's going to throttle the network, and it will also delay the CPU, all those things, right? And so that is all the things we need to keep in mind when we are doing the same thing when we are executing the invoke command, because it is actually gonna fetch the information, and then it's related to your CPU, it's related to your resources, it's related to your network throttling, everything. Okay, so that is all. And let's see, that is one to many is this is one to one. Okay, whatever we just seen is one to one. This is how we will be doing one to one. Means I connected to this particular computer. Now I could do anything from here. Means I'm doing only in this particular machine. Now what if I don't want to do only in this machine? Okay, I want to do in multiple computer. Okay, in that case, first I need to exit hyphen ps session. Now I'm back to PowerShell. You see the change. But again, the concept will be the same thing. Invoke hyphen command, script block, and get hyphen service and computer name. Here you will be saying I Big Bang server 1, server 2. Just use comma. That's more than that's enough. That's the actual syntax. And you see, this is what they actually say. Okay, this is how it will be working. Script block, this is param, all those things not required. Okay, this can be anything. Okay, it can be just a simple command or anything, but it should be in script block, and then it should be a PowerShell script, and then the computer name will be separated by comma, and it can be any number of server. But this is where they say keep in mind there are throttling, passing data, all those things. So when you are running, once it initiated, you cannot stop until, even though you press Control C, until it is gonna complete. It is gonna, maybe it might be ending in your machine, but it will be still going on. Okay, and here let's say this is the command. Okay, let's try this command. Okay, okay, let's try this command. We are not gonna run in multiple computer, we are just gonna do it in two computers. Okay, and we'll be getting an error, but I'll be showing what is this command is going to do. Okay, in the script block, what we are doing is we are creating a PS drive. What is PS drive? It's a file system registry or anything. Here we are gonna basically gonna create a drive called Z drive. Okay, here do I have a Z drive in my computer? No, right? Okay, now we are gonna create that. Okay, now we are gonna send two parameters. Okay, it is not necessary to only send two parameters, and this is all not that it is all just related to PS drive. This is to show you what all the things can be done using invoke command. Okay, now this arguments, whatever we are actually mentioning here, right, we should pass that, right? That should be passed using argument list. So let us do that as well. So first we will be doing param dollar, what are all the two things we are, credentials. Okay, let's say cred, and second one is path. Okay, let's say dollar path is already taken, it is an automatic variable, so don't use path. Let's say root. Okay, okay, yeah, let's try root. Okay, that is what they mean by or. Okay, here, and leave a space, semicolon, new hyphen ps drive, and hyphen name is C hyphen PS provider is file system hyphen root is equals to whatever the path choice is root. Okay. Now I'm doing for the same machine comma comma so that it will be actually doing. I mean, we are trying to do in multiple machines. We are just trying to simulate. Okay. And argument list is the important thing. What I'm doing here, I'll first say argument list. Here they are, confusing. Okay, it is an example taken from Microsoft. I don't want to confuse you, so we created already cred, right? Cred is already there. We are using that where we stored the credential, comma, how we use comma in the computer name. Similarly, argument list will be using comma, followed by path. What is the path I'm going to use? Let's say, okay, C Windows. Okay, let's say this is the path. Okay, I put it in double quotes. This is the path I want to create. And let us also use verbose and hit enter. Script block. Okay, parameter. Okay, what all there is? We are getting access is denied in all these three things. Okay, so first of all, in this line there is a typo. I missed this, and then I added. Now it is executing, but it says access is denied. I'm just gonna check what is the access I'm sending. I'm sending the right access, but still it says access is denied. So let us say cred1, okay, and get hyphen credential, and I'm sending it again @bang slash hp slash, and what are the password. Okay, now I'm gonna run the same command here and then hit enter. Okay, I guess you get the idea. Okay, just to make it work, let me remove the credential and also remove the credential from root in the parameter, and okay, I, okay, I think I I understand where I'm making a mistake. We are using cred, but we are not actually using in the new PS drive, right? So credential is dot cr. Let's say this is cred1 and then cred1. Okay, so that we know the difference between this cred and this one. Okay, and hit enter. Okay, cred1. I'll just copy this command. Let us try. In spite of root, let's say C colon Windows. This is how you need to, I'll be troubleshooting, and I want you to approach as well. So first what I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure this particular command is working with my credential. Okay, this is working, right? Means if I go to my computer, I could see Z drive. Okay, where it is. Get hyphen ps drive. Do we have it? Yes, Z is available, right? Which is pointing to the C Windows. Means it's working. That particular command is working. Now should be something related to, so C, what we verified, this command is working, and root is also working, only the credential is not working. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make this as get hyphen credential. Okay, and I'm gonna make this as creden. Okay, just to, because we use CRED, lot of CRED 1, 2, 3, right? So CRED. Okay, let us try this, and let me write hyphen host CREDN and root. So, okay, so basically the command is working, and since maybe I'm in the same computer and all those things, okay, it is not executing. So what is the takeaway here is, first thing, we are sending arguments from this local machine, and then we are getting as a parameter, and then using invoke command we are running it in the remote machine. What is the machine we are running, in which machine we are running? We are running in any, all the machines 1 to n, from this machine to three different machines. Assume three different machines, so the same command we are running. So this is 1 to n, that is what they say, 1 to n. Okay, and this is supposed to create a Z drive in all the machines. Okay, I mean Z drive, PS drive in all the machines, and say here, this get hyphen credential, whatever we are using, right, it will be going to C, and then whatever the path we are using, it will go into the root, and then this information will be used here in the credential and in the root. that is that is the whole takeaway about 1 to n. Now, remoting output and remoting output in the local is different. First of all, when we are using invoke hyphen command, invoke hyphen command, right, this command, what will happen is the result, whatever we are getting, right, from the remote, when it is coming to the local machine. Okay, so let us say this is the imagine, okay, here, let's say here is an object. Okay, and then it is an object, but when we are getting this same object, okay, let's say we are getting the same object here, which is the this machine. Okay, here it will not be an object, it will be just information. Okay, let's say details. Okay, means it is not any more objects. Since it is not any more objects, it will not be having anything like methods, events, or anything. Means we cannot use it as an object. That is the whole point. Meaning whatever we are doing here object, we can do, let's say pipeline it, we can call methods, all those things. But when we are retrieving this information to client A, wherever we are running from, it will not be doing. So point is, whatever the method you want to do it, let's say you want to do get hyphen service. Okay, and then you want to count. Okay, let's say count, this is the method, right? This is the method, and you should do it in the remote machine, and assign it to, let's say, a variable x. Okay, and you can get the $x here, so that you will be getting only the information instead of trying to do operation. Basically, do the operations in remote and retrieve the details in local machine. Okay, that's all about this one. So as a strategy, try to have much processing in the remote computers. This is what I just said, right? And there are a lot of options when we are trying to do invoke hyphen command. Let's say invoke hyphen command. I have port SSL, let's say use SSL means HTTPS is, we are using HTTPS and credential, configuration name, authentication, all those things. Again, you don't have to use all of them. Based on your need, you can use all of these things. Okay. And sending parameters, we just seen using hyphen argument list, and should be received by send through argument list and received by param. This is common for script and function or anything, everything the same thing. Okay. And the one last thing is, an important thing is, there is a limitation. Okay, when we are doing invoke hyphen command, the thing is we will not able to use, cannot, I mean, let's say the local variable, let's say I'm using a local variable called x is equal to 100. Okay. And if I'm calling invoke hyphen command anywhere in the script, right, I will not be able to use the local command. Okay. Oh, so you cannot use local variables in the invoke command. That's the simple form thing. And how do we actually change it? All we need to do is, wherever we are using the local, use dollar using colon. Okay. In that case, it will be used. Okay. uh, in this case, $x will be sent. Okay. Key is dollar using is this is the one to use the local variable within the invoke command. Okay. And again, this is all you don't required, because you can send this as a argument, and then how we are sending here as an argument list, right? Similarly, you can send argument list in spite of you are declaring something local and then using very dollar using all those things. But just know there is an option. Okay. And here, let's say quantity is read host. Let's say quantity is equal to read hyphen host query how many log entries you need. It's querying, I need 5, let's say. Okay. Now I'm going to use this in the invoke command. First of all, I'll say what this command will do. Okay. What this command will do, this will be, we know this hyphen computer script block, this get event log, get from the security newest quantity is the local one, and using quantity we are actually using the local variable and passing it, and when we are running it. So here I'm going to change this London DC as a IT Big Bang, and I'm going to copy and paste it. And access is denied because I'm in the same machine I'm trying. Okay. Let's say if I do this, okay, remove this, okay, you will be also getting, this will not also work. The point is, how many, whatever the quantity I'm mentioning, that only the first 5 only displayed, and then you'll be getting as a result. That is what this will be doing. Again, this is for dollar using. Okay. And you don't have to use it, you can use it as a argument list itself. Okay. And this is the right way, I mean, easiest way while comparing to dollar using, so that you will not um, mix up with local variables and remote variables. So whenever you are using invoke command, go with hyphen argument list. And we enter to a PS session, right? So we can also create a new PS session. Why we need to create a new PS session? We want to make more than one connection to the same machine, using, let's say you want to do multiple process at the same time. You can do a new PS session. Okay. By default, there will be new, I mean, PS session. Okay. You can have a name, let's say another process one. Okay. And computer name is it will create it, but make sure you assign it to some variable. Okay, a session. Okay, so what will happen? This particular command will create a session and then assign it to a variable, and then you can use that particular, and then you can enter PS session. Let's say assume this PS session is created. Okay, in spite of enter PS session, we initially we just hit enter, right? In spite of that, we will be typing session name, okay, and $a session. This is how we will be entering into that particular session. Then you will be again one to one, you will be connecting to one to the same machine. Let's say you open another console, you create another session, and you will be able to do another operation. So it's just like a multi-threading or doing doing MSTAC from multiple machines. So that's the same concept. And once you are done with that, make sure you are disconnecting the PS session using disconnect PS session, and then it will not automatically happen. Okay, so make sure this is something very important. We disconnect it. Okay, to get the PS sessions in the remote computer. Let's say the remote computer is here. This is the PS session. What all the available? Let's say you can created 10 sessions. You will be able to list using this, and you will be also connect using the PS session if it is disconnected. Okay, how we can disconnect? Similarly, you can also reconnect so that you can get into that particular session. So that is all about PS sessions and then remoting all those things. And being said that, we currently, I'll just quickly say what all the things we covered. We started with remote connectivity and MSTAC as an example, and it is different from remoting. And then remoting, it will be shared. Few things can be executed there, and few things can be executed here. And PS session is what the PS session is the official name, and whatever you are creating, enter PS session, new PS session, everything is done by remoting. So remoting is the underlying concept. If you know this, you can do apply in all these things, okay, on premise or cloud. And Winaram is the service taking care of everything. And I gave an example of ECP in Exchange Server, and based on what access you have, you will be able to connect it. Only that commandlets will be available, and invoke command is a magic command to execute everything. And if you connect to one, it will say the computer name and PS, whatever this one. And if it is not one to one, you will be just using computer name and server 1, server 2, server 3 similarly. So you can, that is the thing, that is one to one and one to n. And we also seen how to pass the argument, how to pass and get the argument and do it. Since as I initially said, this all will be executing perfectly if you are doing with two machines or more than two machines. Since we are doing everything in the local machine, we might be having difficulty. Okay, as I said, go ahead, try it, and then if not now, in future, try it and then come back with the questions. If you are getting stuck, I'll be able to assist you on the scenario basis. Being said that, I'll be giving all this information, including this PDF, so that you can use it. And thanks, guys. Thanks for your time. And let's rock and roll and see you in the next session.